Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my kitchen. We're back again today to cook with Chef Vita the Vegan Chef. My name is Destiny. I'm with the 11th Street Bridge Park, and we're so happy to cook with you guys today. I'm going to bring on Miss Vita the Vegan Chef. Wave hello to everyone. Awesome. And we're also going to bring on Maya, who will be our aide today.
Hello, hi, everyone. Hey, guys. Hey, everyone.
We're so excited to have you guys. This project, we are 11th Street Bridge Park. We're a project of building bridges across the river. And we connected with Vita the Vegan Chef. She's one of our awesome artists, one of our awesome vegan chefs. And one of the biggest things is we wanted to make sure that we are sharing with people the love of vegan cooking. Yep. So today, drum roll, please. We're going to be making a roasted butternut squash with a bourbon maple glaze. Did I say that right? Did I butcher it, Miss Vita? All right, awesome. I'm going to pass it over to Miss Vita the Vegan Chef to get us started.
Moderator, and thank you 11th Street Bridge for having me. And I just want to say a brief word. I'm going to be brief. This is my kitchen. And I say again, as I said the last time, my kitchen is a space for creativity because I'm creating all the time, inventing dishes and so on. And it's a space of love because I love on people with the food that I make. And it's a space of healing because I'm cooking things that are life affirming. And then it's a space of remembrance because this work is in honor of my mother who passed from cancer, and her bout actually inspired this work. So thank you for being in my kitchen, so to speak, and for just joining in, whether you're cooking or watching. So I'm very grateful for everyone out there who has joined us. All right. So
before we get started, Miss Vita, the Vegan Chef, before we get started, I wanted to make sure that, we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to donate to Vita the Vegan Chef. This is a special time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put her information where she will be accepting donations as well into the chat. All right. I just want to make sure we put that out there. Ready for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you in advance, too, for donations. Thank you. Your presence is what's most valuable to me right now. So, all right. So we have a rich agenda. It's basically us making this dish, a butternut squash dish. This is part of 11th Street Bridges, their urban farms and their CSA. This is one of the produce items that's available for the month of September. And that's really the key behind this whole series, making things that are coming out of their gardens. But we're going to make the dish. You're going to hear benefits of the ingredients, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to hear some trivia about the bourbon in particular. All right. And so Maya's going to help us keep on track as far as the recipe goes.
Yes. So I think we're all ready to get started. I know I can't cook with you guys, but I have my yellow butternut squash color rocking here to kind of feel a part of this. So let's get started. And I think we are also able to upload the recipe in the comments chat. So if you're kind of hopping on and off, you're welcome to click that link and you are going to stay right on with us. All right, so let's make sure we all have our ingredients. So for this recipe, we will need 5 cups of butternut squash, and we're going to cube it together. 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, 3 tablespoons of bourbon, and a half a teaspoon of sea salt, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, fresh sage, and cooking spray. All right, so I believe we should all have our ingredients. And the first thing that it says for us to do, Levita, is to preheat the oven to 425 degrees and spray a baking sheet with some cooking oil.
Yes. So notice how high that temperature is. It's a great temperature for roasting vegetables. Like I roast Brussels sprouts around that temperature. And we're gonna do this squash and at that temperature things get nice and done and even get maybe a little crisp on them. Okay. And so it's great temperature.
And so it says
roasting. Okay.
That's really good to know, because I know I love to roast vegetables, but sometimes I'm not sure about the temperature. So definitely taking a mental note on that. So as it's preheating, this will be a great opportunity to peel and cut the squash into cubes. So I'll hand it over to you, Levita, to show us how to do that.
Yes, and tell me if my cutting board is visible. Am I visible here?
Yes.
Destiny and yes. Okay.
Yes, you are.
All right. So I feel like I have to like wrestle with my squash, but and I was very proud of myself. I think it was the sounded
Sorry
muddled.
to interrupt, Levita. Someone asked if we can repeat the temperature. And so the temperature for your oven should be 425 degrees. Okay, yeah.
All right.
Sorry, take it away.
Okay. So first thing we're gonna do is cut these ends off. Okay, you're gonna like I had started here. See that? I'm gonna cut as close to that bottom as possible, but look at what I did. Okay, I cut that little piece off. All right, and then we want to cut this off, this other end. Okay. I was so proud of myself when I finally learned how to cut a butternut squash. I had been just roasting the whole squash, not cutting it at all. And then I've been making this recipe for like over a year. So I learned to cut it then. So you cut the ends, all right? And then you want to half it and be really careful. I feel like I have to wrestle. So if you have to go in a little bit and then, hold it steady and come back out, but you want to like cut it in half, okay? So I practiced this yesterday. I was like, okay. All right. So look at how beautiful that is. This yellow, orangish vegetable. And in a moment, Maya's gonna educate us on the benefits. I'm gonna get a container because I like to compost. Okay. By the way, you could roast these seeds and eat them. Does anyone know what is a butternut squash? Is it a vegetable or a fruit? And how do you know? That's a little piece of information. Perhaps some folks can. Anybody out there? Destiny, do you know? Are we working with a vegetable or a fruit?
I do know. As I'm struggling with my squash, it is actually a fruit. It is actually a fruit.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I was going to say vegetable.
How did you
know? Because of the seeds.
Yes. That's the basic. Very good. All right. Very good. Now, I have a peeler here. If you don't have a peeler, that's fine. You can use a knife, but the idea is we want to peel this. We want to peel the both halves, okay? And let me say, you'll be very close to 5 cups by cubing 1/2 of your squash. Like I'm working with a kind of small squash, and I practiced yesterday. I did a run through. And even with this small squash, when I cubed 1/2 of it, I was like at 4 cups, okay? So you can get a lot out of one squash. So
Levita, any tips for those like me who are struggling to cut my squash in half?
Oh, you just gotta keep going in that same that same slice or split you just made, take your knife out and push it back in using the, please don't anybody cut off their hand or arm or something.
I
It
am
might
not
be,
too.
We don't want that.
I had to sharpen my knife, by the way, yesterday to work with mine. I forgot I even had a knife sharpener, but you're just gonna have to.
Someone said, Lavita, that you can peel it first. Peel it before cutting it in half. Kashana said that, to peel it maybe first, Destiny, and then cut. I think his name is Shemaine, said to buy the pre-cut at the grocery store. I didn't even know.
I like the way that you think, Miss Jackson. I like the way that you think.
It saves time, but
yeah, or you might cut the other way, Destin. Well, I don't know if that'll make it easier. I was gonna say, instead of going the long way, you might cut it this way first, but that you still gotta go as deep, right? But this is a longer way. So maybe if you cut it that way and then cut it again and then cut it again, like you cut it 4 times. You got it? You cut it. She got that. Okay. All right. We move. Maya, you could tell us about some of the benefits while we're working.
Sure. Butternut squash is one of those amazing fruits that you just must have in your diets. So a few great benefits about it is that it has an abundant source of antioxidants in the form of vitamin C and vitamin E. They are also great in regulating your cell growth, your eye health, bone health, immune function. It's also vital for fetal growth and development. So anyone who's out there maybe expecting, it'll be great to add into your pregnancy diet. Also, it says 1 cup provides over 50% of the RDI for vitamin C, which again is great for your immune function and wound healing, and tissue repair. It's also great to help with aiding in weight loss because if you eat maybe at least 1 cup, it will allow you to feel fuller for a longer period of time. And it also provides 7 grams of fiber, which is amazing. So yeah, those are really great benefits. And it can also be eaten raw. Now that I did not know, Lavita. I did not know that this could be eaten raw. I mean, does it taste good raw? Like, do you have to dip it in a sauce, or how does that work?
I've never, to be honest, I haven't eaten it. Well, I took some bites of my cubes yesterday, but I have not made anything with it raw. And the sweetness varies. It just varies with the squash, right? And I was like, I might want to shred this, or, I didn't like it raw as a cube. I was like, I got to figure out that part. I've only cooked with it, but I found that fascinating. I'm going to interrupt. I'm going to interrupt and say, now we have this peeled squash, right? And you're going to just look at think about how wide you want your cubes, okay?
Okay.
And I don't know, I know cookbooks try to give you measurements. These might be a 1/4 inch wide, a 1/4 inch wide slices, all right?
Right.
So you got to go, you can go that way, and then I feel like I'm wrestling. But I'm gonna the end that's really thick, I'm like taking it off here for a second, and I'm gonna go this way again. I'm going the opposite way, actually. All right. So you see what I did? And then these pieces are big. I don't want my cubes that big. I want them more like this. All right. So.
Yeah, they almost look like cubes of like cheddar cheese or something like that, but cool.
Yeah. And I think there was some more stuff about the benefits, like the when you have yellow and orange vegetables and fruits. Does anyone know what nutrient we probably have? Destiny, you know what nutrient we probably have going on in this, just based on the color? Just based.
Wild guess. I'm gonna take a wild guess because oranges are orange and they pack a lot of vitamin C. Am I right about that?
All right. Yes, vitamin C.
Okay.
That's one of the antioxidants in butternut squash. Very good. And do you know anything that vitamin C is good for?
I'm gonna pass this one to Maya.
You know, go ahead.
Right. Hey, I don't blame you, Destiny. And again, all this information is coming straight from Vita the Vegan Chef. Who's so knowledgeable in foods. So it says here that the vitamin C, or the fruit itself, it helps prevent inflammation and high blood pressure and heart disease and mental decline or Alzheimer's. So I guess that's something that, because of that color, or how does that work?
Well, the color indicates that there is a lot of beta carotene, for example.
Okay, got it.
Vitamins. There's a combination of things at work, right? Beta carotene is one. Vitamin A is another. Vitamin E, vitamin C. All of that stuff working together helps to create those results and those benefits that you were just reading.
Awesome.
All right. But
awesome.
The moment I see an orange or a yellow vegetable, I'm thinking about beta carotene in particular.
Okay.
All right.
And don't want to interrupt here. Bethany, hey Bethany. She says, "Hi Levita, you are amazing. Any suggestions if you do not have bourbon?"
Well, you can your glaze will be delicious. Maybe you can increase your cinnamon. How much cinnamon is it called for? I'm not looking.
No, it's totally. It's calling for half a teaspoon of cinnamon.
Okay, so maybe Bethany, you could add another fourth a teaspoon extra of your cinnamon, a fourth to a half a teaspoon more of cinnamon. Or you can just roll with the recipe without the bourbon. You can increase the maple syrup.
And
I would put. Oh, by the way, here are my cubes.
Some scotch too. You can add. Okay.
Okay. Do you have any other liquor?
Yes, scotch. You can maybe.
You got any other liquor in the house, Bethany? Bethany is one of my great colleagues, by the way. Okay. Look, I don't know how y'all are doing, but I'm loving my cubes. They're so bright and beautiful. And I'm going to measure at this point. I did half of my squash. So I got one.
And as you're counting your cups, Levita, another question from Preston says that they have an apple flavored bourbon, and they wanted to know that this apple flavor would work with this dish.
I haven't experimented with bourbon to that degree, but my instincts, and I talk about trusting myself when I'm cooking, and it's kind of going off of my vibration. My vibration is saying that apple bourbon should be just fine.
Okay.
And you're not alone, because I almost bought that as well. So please take a picture. Let us know how it tastes.
Yes.
We'd love to know one thing I encourage actually is for people to trust themselves and to improvise in whatever way they're inspired to. Sometimes the improvisation is determined by what we actually have, right? It's like you don't have that ingredient, and you're like, I'm not going to no store at 7 p.m. And what do I have here to work with? And you just roll with it.
Exactly.
Also, Bethany, if if you like another spice, like a nutmeg or something, you might put in a dash or two of that, you know, that can add something, you know, on top of the cinnamon. So I have my 5 cups of cubes, and I don't want to waste this, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. But I hope that was not too
I think
intimidating.
I'm hearing people in the comments. Bethany even said vodka. Shawnette said maybe whiskey. Shemaine says that they have a smoked maple bourbon. So that all of these people are just coming up with awesome substitutes that we'll see how it turns out.
Yes. We got Luscious on this call, I see. Shawnette is my sister-in-law, and Shameen is my college friend. And yes, very nice. So we got lots of suggestions. And bourbon is a whiskey, right? So it kind of makes sense that perhaps another whiskey will do. By the way, all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon. That's an interesting fact.
I learned that today too.
Yes. So very interesting.
We have all of our cubes cut up, and are we ready to move on to the next step?
Yes. Let's make our glaze.
All right, yes. So it says to combine olive oil, which is 3 tablespoons of olive oil, maple syrup, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, 3 tablespoons of your bourbon, a half a teaspoon of sea salt, and a half a teaspoon of cinnamon in a large bowl. So you want to combine that all in a separate large bowl.
Yes. So that's 3 tablespoons of the olive oil. You said 3 tablespoons of the bourbon.
3 tablespoons of the bourbon. So 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of the syrup, 3 tablespoons of the bourbon, a half a teaspoon of sea salt, and a half a teaspoon of cinnamon.
That bourbon smells so good.
Oh man.
1, 2, 3. And by mistake, or I wasn't intending, but my maple syrup is bourbon flavored.
Oh. Yeah, I think someone else might have a bourbon. Yeah, Shameen has a bourbon, maple bourbon flavor.
Okay. So 3 tablespoons of all of those things, the olive oil, maple syrup, bourbon, and then the sea salt. Okay, here we go. The sea salt is a half a teaspoon.
Yes.
All right.
A half a teaspoon of cinnamon.
Yes. And I'm always bragging, even though my cinnamon is in this container, this is some of my grounded cinnamon. I ground it in the, like with a coffee grinder, spice grinder. And it just is, it's just heavenly. I can just stand here and go,
oh, man,
you know, inhale that. Okay. And then the sage is optional. You know, I hear some sage from my yard. I have lots of herbs outside. So I'm going to chop up some of my sage here.
Yes, and this is a perfect time for everyone to make sure you pull out your phones or do a quick Snapchat and make sure to tag at Vita the Vegan Chef and at DC Bridge Parks, because I'm sure your cubes look cubelicious. So please make sure to take a picture of those.
Yes. Ooh, this face smells so good.
Shauna says, if you have no maple syrup, how much turbinado can we use?
I think you can do an equal amount. I would say do an equal amount. Like whatever the recipe calls for the maple syrup, I would say do that with the
and everyone, she's putting in a sage herb, and this is a sage herb. And Shameen also said, if you don't have fresh sage, how much ground sage?
You guys are killing me. Let me see. Let's just go with something modest. Maybe like a fourth a teaspoon to maybe a half a teaspoon. I would maybe do a fourth a teaspoon.
Okay.
And then tell me how that what happens with that, Shameen. You can taste it, you know, like you can dip your hand in your glaze and see how you like it.
Right. And like we said, the sage is optional. Right. And Melanie also asked, people are asking if you can use oregano or maybe basil instead of sage.
Yes, I think you can. That's a nice improvisation. I think maybe even thyme, like any dried herb, you know. And I would do something like a fourth teaspoon to a half a teaspoon. So I got my whisk out.
All right.
And you guys should try your glaze. Oh my goodness, I'm loving my glaze. I'm loving my glaze.
See.
And then you put the cubes in there.
Right.
Go
right ahead and
get the cubes nice and coated with the glaze. And you guys, this is pretty much it. And then we put it on the pan and bake it for about 20 minutes.
Okay.
And that's it. It's really fast. And I'm going to tell you, this was such a big hit for my Thanksgiving and Christmas meal.
And
a lot of people.
To interrupt, Lavita, Renee wants to know if I can repeat the ingredients. So I'm just going to repeat that really quickly. For the ingredients for the glaze is 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, 3 tablespoons of bourbon, a half a teaspoon of sea salt, and a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And also, if you want to add a fresh herb, Lavita's using sage, but we've had some people comment and said that they're maybe using basil or oregano. So if you're joining us too, if you believe there's a link too that you can click that has the recipe in it. So back to you, Lavita.
Yes. Thyme would probably work well too. The herb, dried or fresh. But look at how beautiful that is.
Yes. Take a picture. Everyone take a picture. It looks so good. How's it going with you, Destiny?
No, I'm unmuted. Okay, so where I currently am, I'm making my glaze. You all saw that I was struggling with my squash. So I'm now making my glaze.
Okay.
So we're here. So I'm not too far behind, I promise.
Great. So once it's done, go ahead, Lavita. Put it on the pan and even it out.
Yeah. You want to try to make a single layer if at all possible, you know, with a single layer of your squash. And I'm going to get mine in the oven because I want to have this to show. We want to finish in an hour, and this will take about 20 minutes. And so I'm going to put mine in this oven, and it's going to be amazing. Put your timer on. Let's put our timers on. And you know, I encourage people to, you know, you might even go with like 15 minutes and then check the tenderness.
Right.
Because I'm basing this timer off of my knowledge of my food, of my stove. So it's better to, in general, when you're baking something for the first time or whatever, you want to go a little bit under what the recipe says. So I said 20 minutes. I'm saying check it at 15. See how you like the temperature. And if you're like, you know what, I want it to be more tender, then you go, okay, I need that 5 more minutes. I need that whole 20. Okay. Or you might be like, I think I need 3 more minutes. Okay. So that's in the oven.
Well, while we're kind of waiting, I wanted to just share a few interesting facts on some of the ingredients. I know one with maple syrup, which is something that I know for me, I pretty much only use maple syrup when I'm eating pancakes. Never really do I cook with it, but it has amazing benefits to it. So a couple of them is, excuse me, disease protection. So they have a pure maple syrup contains over 54 power fruit antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. It's also a sugar substitution. So swap out unhealthy and refined sugar in baking for pure maple syrup, which is really a great idea. It also is good for muscle repair. Due to a high levels of manganese and maple syrup, it is great for muscle and tissue repair. If you are suffering from a mild to moderate muscle injury, it also has anti-aging benefits, and it's just loaded with antioxidants, but it's also still a source of sugar. So it does want to do it using in moderation because it can contain calories and should be something that you keep an eye out for. But again, if you know that a ingredient or a recipe is calling for sugar, you might want to think, hey, well, let me use maple syrup instead because of all the great benefits that it has. So really awesome to use. I have to make sure I use it the next time I'm baking.
Yes. And I visited Montreal, Canada a few summers ago. And they had maple everything, maple candy, just maple syrup, just a lot of maple syrup stuff. And one of the things that I learned when I was getting ready for this is it's sometimes referred to as nature's antifreeze. All right. And this, what I'm about to share has to do with like Native American practices and so on. So there's a tradition in Canada, and Canada is the biggest producer of maple syrup, by the way. And the US is to create candy by boiling it and pouring it on snow. So you boil the maple syrup and pour the maple syrup on snow, and then it hardens and it's like ready to eat. And I got real into that maple candy while I was in Canada. And of course it comes from maple trees, okay? Right. And it's the sap of a maple tree, basically. And it's like a natural antifreeze for the tree itself. So in the spring, the sugary water flows upwards into the trunk. But so let me back up. Maple trees create their own sweet sap to act as a natural antifreeze for their roots when it's cold. Okay. And then in the spring, the sugary water flows upwards into the trunk. And so I thought that was pretty fascinating. Yeah. And then Native Americans, they use a tomahawk to make V-shaped cut in the trees and the hollow reeds to channel the sap into buckets made of birch. So that's one way of harvesting it. And then, Canada produces like 30 million liters of the syrup a year. And that's 80% of the world production. Yeah. So it's very interesting. And it's on the flag for Canada, the maple leaf. And that's why.
You're right.
So, yeah, I'm a teacher. I can't help but
question
there's a question.
Preston says husband wants to know if should drizzle leftover glaze on either before cooking or after. We are high maintenance with the questions tonight.
I like to put all of mine. I like to just pour it all in the pan. That's how I do it. But this is, it's not like it's got meat or eggs or something that you can't, you know, eat raw, right? So like if you let it cook and you get the little crispness on it, I think it would be lovely too to pour the excess glaze on after. But there's something that's happening in the oven at 425 degrees with this maple syrup and the bourbon and the olive oil, all that. It's like it's forming like a glaze, right? And it's not exactly a glaze, you know, glaze and texture or whatever if you just pour it on. But I don't think it will hurt, and I think the glaze is tasty, so it'll work. But I just pour it all in there, into the pan. Yeah. So we also have some fun stuff, some fun facts about bourbon.
Yeah.
That I think let's see how luscious our luscious cooks are. Let's see what Destiny knows about bourbon.
I like it.
So Destiny,
let's do it.
Oven?
Yes, I just put it in the oven. Like I said, I wasn't too far behind. A little behind, but not too far.
Okay. So we're gonna have lots of.
I'm ready for this trivia. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so let's see. So everyone's welcome to type in. We want everyone to play along with us as we are waiting for this magnificent butternut squash to cook. So here we go. I'm going to start off easy. So here he is. Here's the first question. A is for the country in which bourbon must be made. A, the letter A.
I should know that.
The
letter
A is for the country in which it must be made.
Yes.
Oh, the country? It must be made.
Yes. In order for it to be considered bourbon, it has to be made in this place.
In this country.
You can use the same procedure and make it in like Ireland, and it won't be considered bourbon. It has to be made in this particular.
All right, the answers are rolling in, and they are saying America. And are they right? Yes. Yes.
Hey.
All right.
And I'm a teacher, you know, and I could dissect America because we got North America, we got South America, we got Central America. I don't mean to be Americanist. Really, it's the United States of America that we're talking about. Okay, so, but yeah. Just to make, we're going over the ABCs of bourbon, so I needed an A. So there you have it. Okay.
Fantastic.
Can I do one? Let me read one. Okay. Right. So now this one right here. This is so hard. Oh my God. This is too hard. This is another A. We did an easy A. Now we'll do a hard one. So in the 19th century, there was this man who came up with the first continuous still, and his first name begins with an A. His last name is, maybe I'll give the last name to give a hint. Is Coffey, but his first name begins with an A. Nobody on earth is gonna get this except.
I was gonna say, Lavita, this is hard.
Google. This is when you open a new tab and you go to Google. Okay, everybody, because mind blown.
Come on, put your answers in the comments.
Yes.
So
yes. Still. It says in the 19th
don't be Googling.
Came up with the first continuous still.
Don't be out there Googling the answer, people. I know how y'all operate. I'm a teacher. Turn off the Google. Turn off the Google. Okay, I'm just going to give this one. Anybody? All right. It's AENEAS. That might be the hardest question on this, okay? No, that takes care of our A. That takes
I want to read some of the responses. So Bethany says Albert. Someone says Aloysius, which is an amazing guess. And no, Renee, we're not supposed to Google. If I can't Google, y'all shouldn't either.
So there's his name. I don't even know how to say it. Okay. Okay. Let me do an easy one, and then I'll have Maya do some. So this one is so easy. If anybody misses this,
Okay.
I'm gonna put a curse on your squash. But okay, here it is. B is for the most heavily regulated product in the world. Our federal government tells us how to make this product. It begins with a B.
All right, guys, put your answers in the comments. I have a little hint, but I've been wrong before.
Y'all got a big old hint, okay?
These that said broad.
Said what?
Hey, said broad.
I don't understand. My hearing is bad. So what did they say?
So we got bras, we got butter, we got bourbon, we got beer. Somebody else says bras or bourbon. So tell us the answer, Lavita.
The answer is the topic of this class, people. Bourbon. We're making a bourbon squash. Okay, very good to all the people who thought of bourbon. Okay, Maya, what the next one? We got another B question.
Yes, another B question. So it says B is also for what bourbon must be aged in. This B word must be brand new, white oak, and charred. From this container, bourbon gets its big, rich caramel vanilla note. Who knows the answer?
Destiny, do you know?
Right.
Do I know? Okay, I'm gonna read the comments because again, you all are too intelligent. This is amazing. Someone D says barrel.
And I think a hint for this.
Sherry says barrel. Bethany, everybody says barrel.
Barrel.
Fantastic.
Barrel.
A few people.
What did you say, Maya?
I think we have a few people going on Google, but it's no way to approve that. So we'll just say we got some smart bourbon people over here.
Okay, they know their stuff.
Okay,
they do.
I believe that Destiny has the answer to this one. I believe this is a C. Now we're moving into the C. So bourbon must be made with at least 51% of this grain, which was highly regarded by indigenous people of our country. Begins with a C.
All right, I got it. I want to wait till other people say it, but I know exactly what it is. It's corn.
Corn. Wow.
It's corn. Yes. Okay. 51% of this grain. You got to have at least 51% of corn in order for it to be considered bourbon. Now, remember earlier we said the federal government highly regulates this product, right? Our federal government tells us how to make this product, and you see how some of the answers are explaining in what ways the government regulates it. So it has to be 51% of corn, okay? Yes. And it's like sweetness, and it gets its flavoring in part from the corn. All right. Okay. So Maya, you got this harder question. It's got 2 parts. So people got to listen real close.
Okay, here we go. This has 2 parts to it. So it's 2 C's. All right, it's 2 C's to this one. Blank named Dr. James Blank made the consistency and quality of whiskey better by studying the alcohol levels, pH levels, and temperatures at each step of the process. Now, pay attention to what this person is doing, okay? It will allow you to know what type of person this is. So a blank is a type of scientist, starts with the letter C, You may have taken this class or course in your studies. Named Dr. James Blank, and the last name is a type of black bird. Made the consistency and quality of whiskey better by studying the alcohol levels, pH levels, and temperatures at each step of the process. So do we have any answers coming in?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so D.
okay. All right.
Yes.
Go ahead,
Chemist
D.
and Crow. Great job.
Yeah. See this action. What are people saying? They getting it.
Chemists. They got it. They got the chemists. And D Sap, she says Crow is the last name. Is she correct in that?
Yes. Hey, that's my cousin D. All right. So Dr. James Crow, that's who you should think of. He was a Scottish chemist. All right. And so he worked on the consistency and the quality of whiskey, making it better, because he was studying all these elements of it, the alcohol levels, the pH levels, the temperature, and the different steps of the process. All right. We got smart people.
You guys are on fire.
Right.
Okay, now we're on the letter D. We're on the letter D, okay? So the blank proof must be 160 or less when it's coming off the still. Above 160 proof would be more in the realm of vodka. So if we're trying to keep this in this liquor we want it to be a bourbon. One qualification is that the blank proof must be 160 or less coming off of the still. It begins with a D. Think about liquor.
Y'all think? Let us know. Y'all are quiet in the comments. You guys are quiet in the comments. Let us know what you think.
Think about liquor, where they make it, where you buy it, what you go on tours of, and all of that stuff. All the luscious ones out there. Y'all should be able to come up with the D word. Come on.
Look, the comments are everybody's thinking, or they're typing on Google. But we won't get to that. But everyone's thinking hard on
Get off Google. Get off that Google. I know y'all Googling. The blank.
Okay, we got a response. Someone says distillery. Ooh.
Okay. Now we need a noun form of distillery. Well, distillery is a noun, but something that would go with proof. The blank proof. Yeah, you got it's a form of that word. We're gonna give it to her or him, whoever that was.
They said distilled.
Yes.
It's the distillation proof. All right, we'll count all that. That's all. That's good. The distillation.
Yeah, everyone's distilled or distillery.
Yeah, the distillation.
All right.
The 160 or less coming off of the still. All right. I'm gonna ask one more proof question, and then I'll let Maya do the next ones. So 125 or less is the proof at which bourbon must be going into the barrel. This is called the blank proof, and it begins with an E. Now listen to the words of the question. See, context clues, people. Get off of Google. I'm giving you the answer. 125 or less is the proof at which bourbon must be when it's going into the barrel. And this is called the blank proof. When it's going into the barrel, begins with an E.
Into the barrel.
Into.
D says
I think that's what you got.
You said you need a PhD for this class.
Okay, or a chemistry degree or something.
Right.
You guys, look at my cues. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Oh my God.
Oh, Robin and Floyd.
Robin
has. Yeah, she says entry.
Very
she
good.
says entry.
Entry,
okay, so let us know. Entry proof.
Yes.
Yes. That's my good friend
people.
Robin. That's my good friend Robin and the one I told you about. Go ahead. I think I like the tenderness of mine. Look at how the cubes are how I can just cut into them with my fork. It's perfect.
Oh yeah.
Mine. So that was 20 minutes flat on mine. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. We can keep going.
Please, if anyone else is taking their butternut squash out, please take a picture and post it on your social media, your Facebook pages, your Instagram, Snapchats, and tag Vita the Vegan Chef and DC Bridge Parks, because I'm sure everyone's is looking beautiful. That color is looking vibrant. It's awesome.
Yeah. And look, the tenderness is all up to you. If you like the tenderness, take it out. If you think it's not tender enough, add a couple of more minutes to it. You have to use your taste buds. You know, I can taste something and be like, oh, okay, I need 3 more minutes on that. Might be 2 more minutes.
Right. Yeah, this is when you say trust yourself. You gotta trust yourself on this.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, so I guess we have a couple minutes for some more trivia.
Yeah, we have a couple of more questions, just a few more left.
And is it okay if I just slide in the benefits of bourbon? I don't think we went over that.
Oh, we did not.
There's benefits to bourbon?
Of bourbon. That's definitely something. Yes. Benefits to bourbon. Which when I was reading some of these things, I was like, okay, well, let me find out about bourbon. But again, everything in moderation. Everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation. That does not mean that does not mean go home and drink up this whole thing. That doesn't mean drink up your whole bottle.
Right.
That you
It must be 21 and up.
Right. 21 and up. Let's make some disclaimers here. Okay.
Yes.
But no. So bourbon it's a great liquor because it can aid in weight loss. So if you had to make any type of liquor choice, bourbon is one to use because studies have shown that it can help with weight loss and compared to other alcohol choices. It has a much lower calorie count. It has little sugar and no carbs, and it's only 100 calories. However, here's the caveat to it. To reap the weight loss benefits, you shouldn't add any unnecessary mixers to it. So you should just try to drink it straight raw and neat. Drink it neat. It also reduces stress. It comes at no surprise of drinking a swig of bourbon is known to calm nerves. So it helps with slowing your stress and after a long, hard day. So I'm sure that's why a lot of people have bourbon in that bar at their houses. So it's okay. It's okay. It also controls diabetes, which is great. It says as whiskey is aged in wooden barrels, it produces ellagic acid, which is a potent antioxidant. And it helps regulate your insulin levels and the levels of glucose at your liver releases. And so it's helping to keep your blood sugar in check. It also promotes healthy cholesterol levels and prevents heart disease and reduces risk of cancer. It boosts immune function. I'm just going to go over a few more. And it boosts cognitive performance. And it reduces your hangover symptoms. So again, if you choose to indulge one night into bourbon or something, bourbon might be the one.
We're going to have to check this source.
As it reduces hangover symptoms. So, and leave you with spirits. Right. So that's what was great. Let's see. Oh, somebody said, Dee said that I had her at weight loss. So great. And they said back in the day, they rubbed it on the gums of teething babies. Robin and Floyd, I had no clue to that. They used to rub it on the back of babies.
Wow.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay.
Very interesting.
How's
Let me
the
say this.
Go ahead, Levita.
Oh, I was going to say that the longer this sits, the more the flavors are going to soak in. So I don't know how you might be like, oh, it's kind of bland, but it's like, if I heated this up tomorrow, that bourbon and maple syrup and stuff would be, if I was cooking this for like Christmas or something, I probably would try to cook it, I don't know, like an hour or more before I'm going to serve it. Anyway, I like it. Notice the glaze did not stick to the pan. So I'm kind of whirling, it was like kind of still moist on the pan, and I just whirled mine around in the stuff that was on the pan. That's why I said you're safe putting everything in the oven. Okay? All right. So we have a couple more minutes. Do we want to do the last few trivia or what we can get in? Or we want to thank folks? So
now we can do the last few trivia. I'm going to check on my squash.
Okay.
Yes. And everyone is saying how their kitchen smells amazing, Levita. Everyone's saying their kitchen smells good. The aromas, it's just making everyone in a good mood. So that's good.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into a few more trivia questions. We are going to the letter F. Let's see. Going into the bottle, bourbon must be 80 proof or above. This is the blank proof. And this is the letter F.
And look at those context clues. Going into the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Going into the bottle. Stop Googling. Going into the bottle. Bourbon must be 80 proof or above.
Or above, right.
And yes.
And we got a shout out. Phyllis says, I see that apron, Vita. Nice. Vita got a nice apron. Yeah, show it off. It's nice.
Yes. Thank you. Oh, my friend Phyllis. Is this Phyllis Jeffers?
Yep.
Phyllis is logging in from Senegal. And I think it's like 11 o'clock at night or something. Thank you, Phyllis. Love you. Okay. Anybody put some answers?
Yes, everyone's coming in with the answer. Phil, yes, that is the right answer.
All right, that's
right answer.
Yes. All right. How about this? The state of blank was the perfect. Oh, by the way, we skipping letters. Okay, we didn't know our ABCs. We going from F to K. Okay. The state of blank.
That's fine.
The state of blank was the perfect geographical location to make bourbon because of limestone water that was free of iron, because of the oak trees, because of the changing temperatures for aging, and all the waterways for the transport of bourbon. However, bourbon does not have to be made in this state. But what is this state that begins with a K?
Listen, D Sap is on it tonight. She answered the question before you even finished reading. Okay, so she said, "Let me go ahead." She is on a roll. She needs to go ahead and play Jeopardy or something because she is on a roll. She said Kentucky. Listen, D, you got some type of luck in you. I suggest she needs to play something. Kentucky.
All right.
Answer. She has been
D is
nice.
my cousin.
Okay.
D is my cousin. I'm loving it. Thank you, D. All right.
Kentucky is the right answer.
One more. We got time for one last one. Yep.
Okay. This is a shout out to a woman, okay, who had something to do with the bourbon, okay? Okay, it says this substance activates yeast and deals with microbes that can mess up whiskey. But this woman named Catherine Spears, she invented this substance in the 19th century. And she learned that if you want this substance to start fermenting, you have to use some of what was already used. Thanks to her, whiskey is not toxic. All right. And so name the substance that she invented. It begins with an S.
And it's 2 words.
And it's 2 words. It's a phrase. It's a substance, but it's 2 words, okay? Not one. Thank you, Destiny. Catherine Spears, she invented it. We have to thank her that we don't poison ourselves to death when we get to drinking and sipping this bourbon.
Right.
What is the substance? What are they saying? What y'all saying? What they saying?
D
2 words.
Yeah, 2 words. 2 words. Oh, we got an answer. Kashana says sour mash.
Stop Googling. Stop that.
She knew that already. She knew she's an expert.
Yeah, that was a tough one, D.
Okay, let me ask one more. This is short. Okay, it begins with a W. All blank. Oh, wait a minute. All bourbon is blank, but not all blank is bourbon. I said it earlier in the lesson. All bourbon is blank, but not all blank is bourbon.
Ooh. Starts with a W. Whiskey. Yep, DSAP said it. Whiskey.
I got smart cousins, okay?
That's it.
All right. So thank everyone for engaging. Thank you, Maya, for moderating. Thank you, Destiny, for cooking and making such a lovely pan. Can I see your pan, Destiny?
It's still a little hot. Let's see. Can you all see it?
We can see it.
I haven't touched it yet because it's very hot, but it smells amazing. Okay, it smells amazing.
Yeah. So thank you. I wish we had prizes to offer. With the prize is another free to pay what you wish session with Vita. There are 2 more left. Yes. Again, on Tuesdays, 6 to 7 for the month of September. And please post your pictures. Please share it on your social media.
Yes, so much fun. So much fun. Invite everyone. Lavie, do you know what we're cooking next Tuesday?
I don't know. I'll decide with them tonight. Look, by the way, every time I say to myself, I'm cooking with Destiny, I think something prophetic is going, something great is going to happen to me because I'm cooking with Destiny.
Wow. Thank you. And I mean, these last 2 recipes have been amazing. So you're not too far off, not too far off.
My kid, we actually did the blueberry crumble this morning, and it was so good. I tagged you on our social media, Lavita. So PB gave the thumbs up to it again and 100 points. So awesome. Everyone join us again on Tuesday. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you all. Again, tune in with us next week, 6 p.m., same place. Follow us at DC Bridge Park on social media and at Vita the Vegan Chef. Somebody asked what was last week's recipe. The recipe was a fruit berry crumble, which was amazing. Yes. You can find that actually on our Facebook Live page if you just go, back to what we had for last week. So again, we can't wait to see you guys and cook with you all next week. I'll be sending out a link to everybody in the next few days to let you all know what we're cooking. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.